So maybe opening up to like maybe a video on going with somebody who does mountain rescue, a video with a firefighter, and kind of seeing what they do in a day, and kind of opening the education and explaining to people, but what have you learned about teamwork working with these people? Because you go in with like SWAT guys, so you have to trust them with your life. You're in a small aircraft, like dealing with people. You have to trust the medics beside you and the pilot. Like even just the guy in the ambulance with you. What have you learned about teamwork, leadership, being like a good team player, even, or leading people?
Yeah, I guess I've learned that there's a difference between trusting somebody with $10 and trusting somebody with your life. And neither one is mutually exclusive for that. As far as teams go, and I think understanding, that people are people, like you were saying, there is like I'm a person, I'm very fallible. And then understanding that when I say like the group that I work with, we're like a family. I don't mean that we're a always happy functional family. What I mean by that is that we are just as dysfunctional as every family you've ever met. You've got the crazy uncle, you've got the person you don't like seeing. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to overcome that and work together, no matter how much you dislike the person next to you or no matter how much you like them. You have to treat every situation the same, at least in a professional manner. So for teams, I think just understanding that there are dynamics there, that there are things that you have to navigate to be an effective player in these situations. And then trust is not something that's earned overnight. You can get immediate trust with somebody with being like really confident, but that long-term trust, building a cohesive team like on a flight crew, I've had to be in hairy situations with these pilots before I really trust them. And they had to be in those situations with me, see how I interact with patients before they start to trust me.
Hmm.
So I think there's a big push right now in a lot of younger people, especially, is like going into a workplace and having this instant respect, this instant trust. Everybody is going to be super warm to them. And your probationary year as a firefighter is going to completely strip you of any illusions of an immediate trust or bond building, because you will be broken down a million times and put in really uncomfortable situations before somebody is able to like fully trust you and work with you as a professional. So a little bit rambling there. Like, I think for me, the biggest thing is just earn it every day that you can and understand that it's a lot easier to ruin trust than it is to gain it.
That's a cracker of a hint to people. I wish a lot of more people understood that. So, what would you say then to somebody who is about to go into being a paramedic? I mean, I've got a friend who's a paramedic and she's dealing with stabbings and then she's in car accidents. I had a friend who's in the fire service, and one of the things they said in an interview was, "Don't think this is pulling people out and being heroic. A lot of it is collecting body parts after a traffic accident." There's that downside. People have this image of like what it's going to be like. What advice then would you give to somebody who's maybe coming out of a university course or just starting, like their beginner service? Is there a message? Is it just kind of listen to your peers, build your skills, get the repetition, the experience? What else would you say to them?
I guess what I would say is be realistic with yourself. Understand that because if your preceptor says, "Oh man, you got to get out of here. You're going to get PTSD and hate yourself and die alone if you stay in this career."